And welcome to the poll, everyone who's joining us for the first time. Maybe you just came over, maybe you just happened to move on over. I'm stumbling on words today. That's not how that works, but let's go over our hosts as usual. I'm the Comicstorian. I do dramatic recaps on YouTube. You can find me on my YouTube channel, Comicstorian. Up in one of the corners, I don't know where he's positioned right now, is Joel. He brings you cooking shows and reviews of comics. The weirdest mix match you'll ever see about a YouTube channel.
The irony is I haven't done a cooking video in the longest time now, but that's still your
But
go-to.
I'm pretty sure you're still the only comic book YouTuber who has done any cooking shows.
Yeah. I used to have a cooking show, but I don't do it anymore.
And Sal from Comic Pop. They do literally just about everything if it's related to comic books. And that's pretty much it. Reviews, discussions, video games. They talk about it all. And our guest today is Hector. Hector, I know where I know you from, but let's let you decide what you want to tell them about. So,
I'm the one of the co-hosts of Superhero News on YouTube. I'm on Geek and Sundry's Twitch channel, where I occasionally get to talk about comic books, and I'm also the host of the new Nickelodeon animation podcast, which is a really cool thing that Nickelodeon is doing for the first time ever, where they get to talk to. I'm the host, and I get to interview and talk to people that have worked on Nicktoons and just animation in general for the past 25 years, because it's the 25th anniversary this year of Nicktoons. The first Nicktoons came out in 1991. It was Ren and Stimpy, Doug, and Rugrats, which is crazy.
The good old days. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's been awesome. So if you like cartoons or listening to creative people talk about being creative, check that out. It's really cool.
That sounds awesome.
Hey, subscribe.
Yeah.
Just sold it.
I'm bookmarking this. Nick, I always think, gets a little underrated when they think, like in the broad history of animation, people always go like, Fox or Warner Brothers or Cartoon Network. And the thing about Nick is that they're still bringing the heat even today. I mean, with the Avatar and Legend of Korra and all that other stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely. They changed the game, especially when it comes to TV animation. When you talk to a lot of those men and women that were there in the beginning, we forget that like TV animation before Nickelodeon came along was commercials for toys. It was He-Man and G.I. Joe and Transformers, and that stuff's awesome. But it was lower budgeted, and that's what it was. And then you get Nickelodeon, and there were guys that grew up with, Tex Avery and all that great stuff. And John Kricfalusi, who created Ren and Stimpy, was doing Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, we're losing him.
Yo.
Is it just me, or are you guys listening too?
Animation festivals and stuff. So it had this really underground feedback. There
you go. You just instantly caught up. You went lightning speed.
You guys hear me now? I'm good.
Nope, we're losing you.
You're a little robot-y.
Now you got a funny face that'll probably become a meme.
you're a little Voltron right now.
All right, well, while Hector tries to resolve what's going on with that...
Well, he catches up.
Right.
Great.
I'm going to redial him real fast.
Okay.
Ultron has our co-host in his grasp, everybody.
Yeah.
Give Hector your energy.
Some people need to come online before they can join this call. Yeah, he's offline. It just,
It just booted him.
Yikes. Well, thanks, Hector, for coming by. We really love that pitch and everything you did.
He was literally here long enough to plug his projects.
Yeah, good for him. That's how you do it, everyone. You guest on a show, plug your stuff, then get the hell out.
Especially what? Let's move to the portion where we don't typically need our guest, where we go through the comic titles that came out this week while we resolve what's going on with him. I'm going to leave the broken Skype windows for right now, guys. You can see half of Joel's face and half of
my living room.
Sal, if you move over to your left a little...
Yeah.
Now you're in frame. And Joel, you move to your right a little.
Nope. That's much worse.
Now you guys are in frame. We'll go with that.
That is a disaster.
Just until we figure out what happens. Oh, is he back? He's lighting up like he's trying to talk.
Can you guys see me?
No.
Not yet, but
we can hear you.
Okay. That's fantastic. All right.
The joys of doing a live show, everybody.
Yeah. No, they're used to it. The live show people are used to it.
This is not the worst technical difficulties problem we've had on the show.
No, it's not
true.
at all. No. Oh,
Okay,
is that you, Sal? Just cracking
Zero.
one.
I'm cracking a Coke. This is time. It's time for a 0.
All right, so what we're going to do while Hector's trying to figure out what's going on, guys, is we're going to run through the comic titles like we always do. Typically, the guest is welcome to jump in for these portions, but we really want their opinions on the review. So, while he's working out his technical issues, let's do that.
Yeah.
All right, starting at the top of the list, this week we had hashtag I Fight Ghosts, 7-string, Archer and Arms. What? What, you don't like hashtag I Fight Ghosts?
I like that. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
It's pretty straightforward. I mean, there's a hashtag up I goes. There's a hashtag for everything.
All right.
Archer and Armstrong, issue 4, Adventure Time, Ice King, the All New Inhumans, the Amazing Spider-Man. We have Amber Adams, Arrow, the Dark Archer, the Assassin's Creed, the Templars, the Astonishing Ant-Man, Astro City. I can't pronounce it still, but it's still called Mirrored Law as the subtitling. Avengers, Masterwork, the Avengers. It's one of those like reprints. Ether and Empire, BPRD. That is the organization that Hellboy works for. Back to the Future, Citizen something. It's blocked by the guy's head.
Citizen Brown.
Brown? Okay. Batman Rebirth. And I don't know that one at all. It's right here. You can look at it. I'm not even
Moving on.
The Beauty and Veronica. Or Betty and Veronica. Oh, getting a loop. Okay. Black Widow, Black Eyed Kids, Bruce Lee, the Carver, the Paris Story, Chaos Campus, the Sorority Girls versus Zombies book. Looks like they're getting a little more normal with their covers. Chem 19, the Circuit Breaker. This guy has, or girl, has something coming out of their butt. It's a rocket out of their butt.
Oh my.
Civil War 2, War 2 Ulysses, Civil War 2 X-Men, Clean Room, Crossed, Dark Knight Returns, The Once in Future is Tarzan.
Ulysses getting his own book.
Yeah, apparently. It's issue 23. That's not getting his own. He's had it.
Oh, Lord.
It's coming on.
Deadpool, Death Force, Deep Water Prison. I don't know what that is, but I'm intrigued. DJ Thoris, The Monsterology, Descender.
Cool.
Is Descender any good?
I have no idea.
I see it advertised everywhere. I figure it must be good because they have a big advertising budget.
The Devil You Know, De-Evolution, Doctor Who, The 10th Doctor, Shadow of the Vampire, The Doors, Elvis. What? Elvis Adventures, guys. This is legit.
Dude, the Elvis series we've all been waiting for. Is it Fat Elvis? Is it Vegas Elvis? Or is it Blue Hawaii Elvis?
Escape from Monster Island, Escape from Prometheus, X-Morphs, The First Hero, Feathers, The First Law of Mad Scientist, Frontlines Requiem, The Goblin Hood, Wanted... I give it up. Godzilla Treasury, Godzilla Treasury Edition, Gollum. That's actually one that I actually want to read. That looks really good. Golem, probably. Green Arrow, Green Lantern, Guardians of Infinity, Guardians of the Louvre. What?
Oh, so they're protecting art, I guess.
Cool.
Han Solo, Hawkeye, Volume 6 has officially come out. Heavy Metal, Hellchild, Heroes the Godsend. That comic must be selling because that show got canceled.
Still here.
I
Hip Hop
guess.
Family Tree, I Hate Fairyland, number 6 came out. I'm excited about that.
Everyone keeps telling me to read that one. I hear great things, but I haven't had a chance
yet.
yet.
Dumb if you ain't read it. All right.
If you ain't read
Independence Day, The Inferno, Civil War 2, International Iron Man number 4. I don't like International Iron Man.
I stuck with it for a long time, but it's just like I think I can put this one on the back burner until something more substantial happens.
I think Civil War will just negate it. It's just kind of like, all right.
The Invincible book, Jekyll Island, Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files, John Carter, Warlord of Mars, John Carter, Warlord of Mars, Volume 2, The Joiners, Joyride, Jughead, Justice League Volume, issue number 51, which was awesome. The King Collection, Claus, Lazarus, The League of Champions, Lords of the Jungle, Na Ruin Talk, Lost Angels, Lucifer, Lumberjanes, Manifest Destiny, Mayhem and Magic. I don't know. Manahem, made up a word. Mercury Heat, The Mighty Zodiac, Monster Elementary, Monster Musume. That is a anime. It's a manga that comes with a vague parental warranty because that girl on the cover is topless half the book. Anyway, My Little Pony. I'm putting it out there now if anybody's like, oh, that looks fun, let me go buy it. No. The Nameless, The New Stuff, Suicide Squad, Nexus, the comic strip, Nova number 8. The October Faction, Outcast, volume number 3. God, really? Pack Nadal and Track Han Nove. Turncoat. Hellcat Volume 1, Hellcat Issue 7, Pencilhead, Pep Digital, Plants vs. Zombies, Poison Ivy, Princess, Make Your Bed. We're going to go with that. We're going to go.
Make your bed.
Princess
Just
you gotta make
chores.
that bed.
Chores the book.
The Protectors, The Puppet Master, The Queen of the Black. Black. The Queen of the Black.
Sound
Black.
it out.
No. It's BL and then it's like off, like it's a separate word. Ack. Rachel Rising, Rainbow in the Dark, Regular Show, Ringside, Rob Haynes, Samurai, Savage Dragon Archives, Saved
Still
by the
going.
Bell. What? They got a comic?
Seriously?
Yeah. Yeah.
We are at dangerous levels of 90s nostalgia right now as Saved by the
Yes.
Bell is getting a comic series.
Scarlet is back, Scooby-Doo, the Scooby-Doo Apocalypse, Sex Criminals Volume 3, Shocking Terror, The Sixth Gun, Smosh the Comic, no comment, Sonic Universe,
Moving on.
Southern Knights, Space Battle Lunchtime, Space Brothers, Spider-Gwen, Spidey, the timeless version, The Spire, Spot on an Adventure, Squadron Supreme, that was Volume 1, and number 8 came out. The Squirrel Mother, Star Trek Archive, Star Wars, Strawberry Shortcake, Sunbaker, Superman, Swamp Thing, Tales from the Dark Side, Tall Tales, Tank Girl, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 59,
Yeah.
Bebop and Rocksteady tie-in, Terminus,
You're
the Invincible
great.
Iron Man, Timely Comics version. I'm going to skip all these Timely Comics.
Please
Titans
do.
Rebirth,
Good.
Tomorrow's,
Yeah.
Transformers All Hail, Optimus Transformers, till all are one. Okay,
Okay. Yeah, that's
Good
something.
subtitle.
that's new. It's the brand new one. So, Transpasser, Tribute, The Twilight Zone Shadow, The Uncanny Inhumans, almost done, folks. Uncanny X-Men, Vikings issue number 2, based on the TV show, I assume.
Oh.
Vote Loki, which if anybody read that, I want to know what the hell it's about. I haven't read it.
No, I didn't read it.
I have it on my pile. I figure
Yeah.
it's going to be Marvel's take on a political satire starring Loki, which, hey, more power to you.
Right. Weird Detective, welcome to the show side. What we know about Falling Apart, Wrath of the Eternal Warrior number 8, and a year of Marvels.
Woo! All right, Hector, give him a call.
He's already in.
He is? Oh,
Yeah.
hey. Oh, I
Hear me?
heard the thing. I was like, yeah, you sound great.
Okay, so what we'll do,
I
if you want to do no video, we can pull up a picture of you if you just got some art you want to throw in.
You've done that.
we can do that. I've tried fixing the video thing, and I had no idea how. So I'm trying to quit out of Skype, and it's literally not letting me, and it's freaking me out, guys. I don't know what to do.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Have
Skype.
you like
That's a
alt tabbed
scary
it out,
time.
like Control Alt?
Oh,
deleted
Oh
it
yeah,
out?
multiple times, and I just have a little smiley face emoji staring at me that's telling me that my conversation is all set up, and it's just waving, and it's creeping me out because the computer is more powerful than I am. I'm demanding it to do something confusing.
Do you want to
think
do a
Skynet is
full
taking
reboot
over
before we
Hector's
go into
computer.
I
the
even
discussions?
closed it. I closed my laptop and then opened it, and it was like, "Hi, still here." Sorry, what was your question, Benny?
I said, do you want to reboot your computer just to play it safe?
Yeah, sure. Let's try that. Well,
Yeah. that works.
While we're doing
I-
that, I'll do an unboxing because Blizzard sent me a box.
Ooh, Lucky Benny. At it again.
Blizzard sent you a box?
Yeah.
Damn it. So that's a cool box.
This is why I play Hearthstone all day to get free stuff.
Is
Ah.
it? It's an Overwatch box.
I don't know. Let me hang up on Hector since he's trying.
Okay.
Well, Hector tries to get his computer back from Skynet.
Yeah.
We're gonna go over Rebirth and Civil War 2 today, guys. So don't worry. Oh, it is Overwatch.
Oh.
Nice.
They sent me
It's
two
an
of the
actual
Pharaohs.
loot box.
Oh, they're pop.
nice.
They're pop figures that you
Yeah.
can have.
Oh, thanks.
I hate
That's
this. They're
cool.
awful.
And what is this? Why is it heavy?
I don't know.
I like now we're just watching intently. Benny, like, ooh, what's he going to do now?
It's like a
Cute-
mug.
Yeah, cute and deadly mug.
That's
Oh.
awesome.
I'm
Thank
a
you,
fan
Blizzard.
of mugs.
Woo.
Thanks, Santa Blizzard.
Santa Blizzard.
Benny's been really good this year. Played lots of Hearthstone.
Is that Farah 8 inches? What kind of a question is that? I have no idea.
That question sounds like it has some, like,
It's one of those
connotation.
pop figures where the head is way too big to fit on that body.
Ah,
Yeah, I hate those figures.
I know.
They're literally they've invaded every corner of they've taken over areas that don't even have fan bases.
Right.
Like there's literally there's Big Trouble in Little China pop figures right next to Scooby-Doo figures, right next to Doom 2016 figures.
There's Pulp Fiction ones.
It is just
Hey guys, just
invaded.
I'm pulling over to our splash page while we fix this Hector's connection, so you're not seeing all the private stuff.
I would just like to say, anyone out there from the Pop Funko Corporation, Joel loves your tiny figures
I love
very
your
much and has a whole wall of them.
Yeah, like they're all over the wall right there. There's a bunch over this wall over here. There's a bunch over here. I got Vegeta sitting right here.
Oh, sweet. But yes, I get what you're saying, Sal, where it's like, no, who are half of these for? Yeah.
No,
I mean, like,
no, forget. Sal doesn't know what he's talking about. Pop Funko, send us free stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, fill up your house with these stupid figures that no one wants, that is like these little beady eyes that don't even make sense. Yeah, no, please. I don't even I like the plush ones. They're a little bit better. And these and I think they also make these sweet what are they?
Really
Bobblehead figures.
Mugs.
Oh,
like
yes.
I got Dr. Doom.
That's
Like,
cool.
I like the designs on these way more than those awful pop figures. Those figures are so stupid.
Love when people. Benny was talking to people could see him. I still said I love this mug. I say that.
That mug's great. Mug's great.
It's got all the World of Warcraft and Heroes characters on it.
Nice.
Mugs are cool. I like mugs. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I would love little vinyl figurines of characters that I like, but I just those
Sal
figures.
tangent incoming. Let you guys watching the post recording here. I mean, sorry. That's all I can say. I mean, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. You're getting like a weird weekly poll.
Yeah, in between. Because we didn't get to have one.
We may have Hector.
Woo!
Hi guys.
Hey,
Hello.
Hector. Oh, we got a camera trying.
Is trying. Spin, little wheel, spin.
Did it work?
I honestly thought you'd have like really good internet.
Not yet.
I mean, or do you just not work from home very often on Skype stuff?
Yeah, not too often. Yeah, can you guys see me now? Am I good?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You're there,
now we
but
can
you're already kind of
Little
breaking up a
choppy,
little.
though.
Just a warning.
Sorry, guys. I guess my internet is the worst. Really apologize. I moved closer to the hotspot here to see if that would help. So hopefully it will work.
Okay,
you
cool.
seem to be coming in a
Yeah,
bit
so far,
clearer
so good.
now.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit. So what we'll do basically is simple. If you feel like you're lagging, just give us like some kind of hand symbol, and we'll like motion to you like, "Hey, what's your opinion on this book?" That way, we're not having the
Great.
big game of everyone talking over each other.
Great.
All right,
Or the
back
weekly
to the
poll
show,
special,
guys.
as we call it.
Yeah, weekly poll special. Okay. All right, guys, let's get back to the main topics then. Moving down
Yeah.
the list here, I closed it by mistake. So, Sal, what do you want to talk about first? We'll go with you. We'll pick it up.
Oh man. I mean, where do we start? We could start with Civil War and go from there because it's
Okay.
it's one of the few Marvel books on the list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So let's do Civil War 2 then. Everyone here, I'm assuming, has read it. Don't forget, if you are watching this, this is a spoiler zone. So if you don't want to, we try not to just, for the record, Hector, we try not to give everything away. But with DC Rebirth and Civil War 2, it's just kind of like that's gonna happen. We can't discuss it without it. So. I'm just going to say it right here. The big event we all thought was going to happen happened, where Ulysses saw something that was going to divide the superheroes.
Yep.
Right.
Which, if you haven't read it or you are a little unclear, was Hulk's going to kill everyone.
The Banner Hulk, interestingly enough. Not
Yeah.
the totally awesome Hulk, the Banner Hulk.
I didn't see that as the big event. I just saw that as a distraction so that they would leave him alone.
You think he made it up?
I think either he just develops this new power. He's already a new character who has nebulous powers. He can't be mind controlled, or you can't read his thoughts. And now all of a sudden he develops a new power, which is to project his visions into other people's heads. It feels kind of like he's either making them happen or he's making them believe it's going to happen. I think
like
it's a red
defense-
herring.
It's like a defense mechanism thing, because as Tony said, your powers are connected to your emotions, as most heroes' powers seem to be.
Right.
Well, I mean, it could very easily be a situation in which he did that projection thing, but that just could be the writers just basically being like, give him a new power so everyone stops questioning if it's real.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you
from a
think,
right-
Hector?
I dug it. I think that the conversation that was really key was the one that Tony had, where he was talking about bias, where he was talking about what was your upbringing like, because the kid said, I'm a big fan, and Tony, I think, heard that and is using that as a way to figure out, because the Thanos thing ended up being real. The big event in the beginning of Civil War II issue 1 ended up being real with whatever that alien invasion was.
Celestials,
The Celestials, exactly. So far so good. But then here comes a thing where it's the crux of the book. It's, do you go and arrest Bruce Banner for something he hasn't done yet? Well, it's like, well, is it going to happen, or is this the kid's bias, his internal feelings towards this creature, the Hulk, towards superheroes in general, to what he's feeling in that moment, like you said? So I think it's fascinating. I think that it would make sense to have it play out where he learns about Jennifer. Maybe She-Hulk dies. Maybe she doesn't make it out of the coma, and that's what, do you know what I'm saying? So I think
I could totally see that. That'd be awesome.
We don't know yet if it's real or if it's sort of what Tony was saying, where this is the kid subconsciously. I don't know if he's doing. I don't think it's a villainous plot. I don't think he's doing it as a lie. I think he believes what he saw, and everybody believes what they saw. But like Tony was saying, this could be a deep-seated, a very deep emotional response to his world around him and how he grew up or whatever. So he projected this, and now they're going to go arrest the guy for doing something he hasn't done.
This is also kind of the point of no return and the point of escalation for Tony Stark. He invades the foreign soil of the Inhumans, kidnaps a young man from his bed in the night, and hilariously enough, I love that he beats all the Inhumans, even Karnak, single-handedly, where it's like, ooh, I think Bendis might have a low opinion of the Inhumans or something, because Tony's just throwing shade at them the whole issue.
I love the Tony's attempt at an out, though, when they break in his wall, and he's like brushing the kid off. We were having fun. We were having fun.
What are you talking about? We're hanging out. Now, what's so frustrating about that is, like, couldn't he have just invited the dude to his house? Like, what? Like,
well, the guy even said that. The guy even said you could have asked.
It felt so manufactured because I feel like they really, really want to. They've been trying to sell these Inhumans to us for the last decade, and I feel like they've been wanting, like, they want to create this big thing where, oh, remember like 5 years ago when the X-Men and the mutants were like, you don't trust us, we can never be friends with the superhero community. Now we're generating, we're manufacturing inorganically this new problem that the Inhumans, like, we'll never be able to trust you, like, for no reason. Like, Tony Stark would never, I don't care that he's bereaved. Dude would never break into a sovereign, like, he would never create an international incident
in
like
the dead of night just because he was upset.
In light of the fact that he created an international incident in 2005 with Civil War, the first one. Like, the dude should be thinking clearer than he is, and I don't think it's because he's bereaved. I think it's just because Bendis needs to check off a couple of things that need to happen in this series.
We need an inciting incident.
Yeah. And we need to have a big war with the Inhumans. Ooh, what's going to happen? Like,
I do like Medusa, though, and even Black Panther says it, where she's like, oh, you know, she's gonna have some tough choices right now because her people are gonna be calling for blood, and even though she wants to play nice with the Avengers, she's gonna have to placate them, because if she doesn't, you know, she'll be out of the throne room.
I will say Medusa was cool. I liked the characterization.
It was.
I mean, do you have anything else you want to add into it, Hector? I know we're kind of a weird thing, typically.
The art is fantastic. David Marquez's art is gorgeous to look at. I mean, every page is just so clean. It's so well put together. I really like Bendis's characterization of Tony Stark. I really, the dialogue feels really. The dialogue, at least, feels really natural. It
helps that he's writing his book now too.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was a lesser issue rather than that first issue, which was really, really game changer for me. I thought it was an awesome, out of the gate. But I'm still really invested and interested, and I want to see, where it goes. And like you said, Joel, it's interesting that it's Banner Hulk and it's not Cho. So I want to keep reading. I want to keep seeing. I want to keep checking it out.
I dropped off on the Cho book, but I know they were seeking to imply that, like, the darker aspects of the Hulk are inside Amadeus Cho, and Banner might not be Hulk anymore, but I guess they're going to have to answer that question.
Well, we don't know the full story yet. He's literally the last issue left with him going to see Banner.
Yeah.
So, like, we're going to get those answers real soon.
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, so basically what we do is we have the guest decide, and you pretty much made the call, but would you recommend to someone this is a great jumping off point, or should they get the issue 1? If someone were walking the comic book store right now and just see 2 on the shelf, would they be safe, or do they have to get 1?
I say you got to get 1. I say that you can skip 0. 0 did a good amount of setup as well, but I say that you got to get 1. And even within 1, there are moments throughout that issue where you feel like you missed a big battle. You missed a big moment. You're like, wait, what happened? Because it just kind of skips to a thing. And that's been explored in the tie-in issues. So far, I feel like you're safe just getting issues 1 and now 2. And I'm the type of guy that usually, enjoys these huge comic book events from the big two, just the core series. And then if I like it, I'll go back and I'll explore the tie-in stuff later. That's usually how I do it. And it's probably what I'm going to do for Civil War 2. And so far, I say those 2 issues are great, but you got to get issue 1. You can't just jump in and get 2.
Okay, yeah.
Now, did anyone read the X-Men tie-in?
I was about to say that. Because based on what you said, Hector, you didn't read any one of the 3 tie-ins that came this week. I didn't either. So, what did you 2 guys read?
Well, if people want, I can just briefly take you through the X-Men things.
Yeah,
so, I mean, if you've been reading...
You just gotta let the viewers
what they do,
know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so the way they've been selling this whole, like, X-Men tie-in to Civil War is that you're finally going to get to see the tensions between Inhumans and X-Men boil over, because the Terrigen Cloud that gives the Inhumans their ability is slowly killing and sterilizing all mutants all over the place. Storm's team is, trying to take more a defensive route of it. They're, trying to save as many mutants as they can in Limbo, where they've set up the school to protect everyone. Magneto and his group, who also have a tenuous alliance with Storm, they're like, well, we're going to be more proactive about this. We're actually going to go out and, more or less kill the enemies of mutant kind, and we're going to be really aggressive about it. They went to Dubai, Magneto's team, and there was a bunch of, mutant aristocrats being like, yes, the Terrigen Cloud is coming. Sure is good to have money and be up here where no one can get us. And Magneto's like, nope, not happening. You're going to shelter everyone in the city, and if you don't like it, Master of Magnetism all up in ya. This leads to a bigger clash with a new group of Sentinels who are like cyborg Sentinels, half human, half Sentinel. The X-Men Storm's team comes in to help them out, and the only reason they knew about this is that Ulysses told them about it.
Oh, okay.
And Psylocke ends up reading Storm's mind, and she's like, hey, Inhumans have a guy who can see the future? What? And Magneto takes this as like, okay, well, now the gloves are officially off. A, you lied to us, Storm, about this. B, if Inhumans have a guy who can see the future, then mutant kind is boned at this point. I am rallying my team and every other mutant, full out war on the Inhumans right now, no takesy backsies.
Uh-huh.
And then it ends with, with a mutant who you may have thought have been loyal to Storm coming to Magneto and being like, you know what, maybe you're right. Let me join your team now.
Well, don't give you just went word for word the whole thing, buddy. But
no, I didn't. I said a
you literally
mutant.
said it ends with.
With a mutant.
I didn't say who was, though.
No. Okay. So basically, though, since you're the only one that read it, would you recommend this is a safe one to read, or they have to read rest of Civil War?
I think if you're interested in X-Men and the Inhumans and their big fight, this one gets you enough up to speed on the conflict and everything that's been going on that you could probably pick up and read just from here if you really wanted to.
Okay. Did anyone read I know Hector didn't, but did you read Ulysses or Nova, Sal?
No.
Ulysses is an Infinite series. I was going to read Ulysses until I found out that it was a Marvel Infinite digital thing that I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I don't read tie-ins. I don't like the methodology behind them. I think that it's mostly just like, put the logo on it and tell a story that you kind of wanted to tell, but like ruin it by shoehorning it into this event. I'm not interested in that. And more often than not, I'm right to do it. So I avoid them all. And then if I hear like it's amazing,
Hector agrees with you on that one, whether or not he should go back into them.
Yeah, like I said, I tend to to go and look at that stuff afterwards. I found so many great tie-ins to events over the years, especially Civil War. I found a lot of cool stuff with Secret Wars this past year, which I'm really now reading. But it was like it's like Sal's saying, like don't force it for the for the monthly story, whatever. More often than not, it feels forced and it's not good. But if you can find the gem, great. But that's why I like to go explore them like in trade format, so that I can.
When the whole thing's done, you can be like, okay, what was the good one?
You'll also save a bunch of money on it because, like, $4 or $5 an issue. Usually, if it's in trade, you can get it for like 15 to 20, and it's like, well, you probably just saved yourself about $10. So much easier.
My favorite thing to do, if they don't have it at a local library, I just like to go and spend an afternoon in a Barnes and Noble and just bring my iPod, grab 2 or 3 books and go sit in a corner and kind of read them. And if they're good, I might buy them, and if not, then I put them back.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about Barnes & Noble is they give you no crap for reading them in the store.
That's right. They do not
care.
care.
As long as you buy a coffee, you're okay.
Yeah. If I like it, then I go on Amazon, I purchase it, and then I leave the store.
Barnes and Noble? Yeah, exactly.
All right, so okay, that's pretty much all of it. While we were doing the discussion, guys, we did get a new subscriber, S Griffith 610. Thank you so much. I believe we're either 12 or 13 away from our next emoticons. So guys, if you want to see all the cool ones, make sure you subscribe. It directly supports all the shows. But let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I guess that leaves us with all of the Rebirth stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
So let's start with the core Rebirth. Like, I guess they're considered zero issues, but which one was that this week? I'm trying to find it. Titans.
Yeah, Titans Rebirth.
Did you read that one, Hector?
I did. I didn't enjoy it,
Really?
but I'm still enjoying. Titans Rebirth is a thing that, like, I forgot who the artist is on it, but it's the art that kills me, man. The art feels so 90s to me.
Yes.
And it's like, it's good for 90s comic artwork. If that same art style was in something I read in 1994, I'd be like, this is dope. This is so good. It's not up with the times. And then the writing was also pretty sloppy. However, I will say that I'm still, honestly, and I'm surprised I'm even saying this, I am invested in every single thing that's coming out of Rebirth. I am so interested in the story. I was interested when Wally in this Titans Rebirth went and reconnected with the rest of the Titans. I was like, awesome. I want to see this play out. The issue itself, I'm still like, I might wait for the trade on this. I might, get a summary of this in another title. But the fact that it's happening is awesome. I loved Green Arrow. I loved Superman. I thought Batman was so cool.
Yes.
Green Lanterns, I had the same issue with Titans. I thought it was just okay, like okay written, pretty good art, but I'm still invested in those characters. And for the first time in a really long time, I am following DC week to week, and I'm seeing this weekly story unfold, and it's fun, man. It's great because I love characters. It feels, and especially the stuff they're doing with Superman. I'm like, he's my guy. He's my guy. So for them to go, Superman died in a heroic way, which I caught the tail end of that, and it was interesting.
Yeah.
You bring in bearded Superman who's married to Lois with a kid. I'm like, this is my favorite thing ever. And then to go from there, I loved Action Comics with Luthor coming in. I'm just so excited that, so many people, guys, were tweeting that 2-page spread where Superman's just holding the shirt last week. And I have that kind of excitement about a Superman comic in a long time, which is really
right?
Yeah. Absolutely. So
I mean,
in terms
I
of
100% agree with you on that. I think and that's one thing I love about Rebirth is there is a core story to follow, and they're not shoving it down your throat. Like the books feel like they're in this, they're a part of it, but you're getting all these separate stories, and I care about each and every one of them. Like I want to know what's going to happen.
There's this really interesting arc you can follow with Wally West from DC Universe Rebirth to the Flash Rebirth, now to Titans, where it's like, oh man, you're kind of got like one solid story going on where you're getting people to remember you, and you're also warning about the big, huge, possibly Watchmen-related threat that's coming down the pipeline.
Yeah. So
you're like, no guys, you got to be afraid.
Well, since you get you didn't like the art, but so Titans Rebirth though, if you have been following Rebirth and you did read Flash Rebirth, this continues that story as Joel said about Wally West, where he now goes to find the rest of the Titans. And like you said, Hector, I was so invested in that. The art I felt was okay. I wasn't as completely turned off as it as you were. I didn't feel like it was the best it could be.
It's not Thunderbolts where it's just like, oh my god.
Thunderbolts is like, what are you doing?
But with this one, as we were going through it, I got so invested. Like when Dick Grayson remembered, when the team remembered, I was like, yes, this is the most.
It's a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
Right.
And it just sets up for the book and the series and what's going to happen. I totally, especially this one, because we haven't had this group in so long. Mm-hmm. So this issue, I personally feel like is great for anyone to go pick up.
It's the OG legit team you remember if you're an old school Titans fan. They're all back. They're adults. They grew up with you. And you know what? If you want a young team of Teen Titans, well, they got that book coming too. And you can read both. You can have the best of both worlds. It's the definition of
It's
having
literally what they're doing with Wally. You want your redhead Wally? He's back. You want your black Wally? He's over here. We got them both. You enjoy.
Yeah.
So speaking of then, moving on, because you said did you read the new Superman then? Superman #1.
The best. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was
the
so
art,
great.
I loved the art. I loved the story because you know what? Action Comics is about Superman reclaiming a settle as Superman. This one, which is what shocked me, is more about his relationship with his son.
Yeah, it's a family
Which is what
book.
I want to read. That's the Superman they promised. That's the one I want. I want to watch Superman balancing his family and also being Superman. This is the book that
it was genuinely kind of shocking, too. I don't want to spoil it because it was a good twist, but I'll just say Jonathan the Kid does a thing with his powers in this issue where you're like, oh my god, oh no, oh god, no.
He learns a lesson about power and responsibility.
Yeah.
I mean, the book was incredible because, like you said, it does show him being Superman and dealing with the family. And what I'm loving is it's showing it almost not entirely, but primarily from the perspective of the son and how he views his dad as Superman. And oh my God, is that Batman and Wonder Woman? He's just gonna sneak off and talk to? What is this?
Yeah,
That's
that
a beautiful
made
moment.
that made me crazy because I'm like, I want to see that conversation. That's the only thing about that issue that I'm like, well, wait, like do what that's the tie-in that I would read. I'm always a big fan of. I don't know why, but I love watching capes and tights guys just hanging out and talking like regular
Me
people.
too.
So I would love to see the Trinity being like, so okay, give me the notes. Why are you 10 years older than the Superman that I knew? I
What
love
world
the
are
new
you
outfit.
from?
It's very retro, but also being very classy. Well, what's all that all about? Like, I want to see, like, I just want to see like real Superman go to the Batcave and talk and like bring Batman up to speed. Like, that's the conversation I want
It's
to
a
watch.
beautiful scene because we all become Jonathan in that moment. It's like, what are those guys talking about? And Superman just being like, no.
Because Batman's got a lot of questions. He's like, okay, so
He
you're a
asked
Superman.
half of them in bits and pieces.
Yeah, and you can see them all because it's like, you got the kid. He's got powers. Does he fit into a Robin costume?
Hector, I know.
I mentor a lot of children is the thing. Can I mentor your child, please?
Yeah, I'm good at it. Trust me.
Is there any way he'll be an orphan soon?
Look, only a couple of them died and only one became evil. I'm batting a pretty good thing so far.
Yeah, I got a good average.
Since we're having this weird situation where we kind of like give the mic over to you, Hector, what do you think about the whole thing?
I am so on board with, like Joel said, it's the definition of having your cake and eating it too. It is giving us a classic character, literally, in that it's pre-New 52. You can't get any more sort of fan service than that and go, okay, we're returning to an old way. We're literally pulling him from another universe, a pre-timeline. And at the same time, it's that classic Clark Kent Superman that we know, or that we all feel that we do. Plus, they're moving him forward in a direction with the father stuff. And there's so many interesting questions that are brought up, because I remember that I actually enjoyed that story element in the movie Superman Returns. I was interested in it, and I went, I can't wait to see what they do with it in a sequel, and then they never got to do it. I know when they gave Superman a kid, everybody was like, you can't do that to a superhero. That was immediately like a franchise killer. I don't want to see it. I'm not interested, blah, 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 blah. And people were right to have that opinion. That's totally fair. That's totally legit. But I feel like every other superhero is also a single guy superhero. Why not give the father of all of them the son character and then kind of go from there? Peter Parker was the first really major character to get married. He got married even before Clark Kent and Lois Lane. Yeah. And that marriage, I love that marriage. They were married the year that I was born in comics.
Aww.
And so in the entire time that I've been alive, they were married. And then Marvel took that away when they're like, now a single guy again. Yeah. And at times it was frustrating because I wanted that character to evolve. I wanted him to grow up sort of with me. And we're getting that with Superman, but DC's really cheeky. They were able to do it in this way to still put him in a world where they could maybe still bring back the younger Superman. They're going to kind of maybe see how this plays out. There's all these different things at play, but I love Lois. I love Clark. The father-son stuff is so interesting because Clark is trying to raise him like a human. And the kid who has powers still, even if he didn't have powers, he'd be like, Dad, you can do all these chores in 2 seconds. Can you just do them? And he'd be like, no, let me teach you a lesson, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That's so interesting to me.
He's become Pa Ken.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying. He's trying to be Pa. And I haven't read a story like that with a character that's this iconic. I can't remember the last time I read something like this. That's not just a what if and not just sort of an Elseworlds. Like, this is, here to stay and we're going forward. So I cannot recommend the Superman stuff enough. I really loved Action Comics, like I said. I really loved Superman Rebirth with the bearded Clark was great. So those have been great.
Superman Rebirth is what opens the doors for. I don't think we can bring him back, but that's not off the table.
Well, we might be able to. Did you guys catch too that the next story, or at least the kickoff to the next arc there is called Eradicate? And I'm like, ooh, because they already brought back the original Doomsday. Are they going to bring back the Eradicator somehow?
They've already established a Hank Henshaw in this universe. So we've got, and we also have a Steel, and we have a Superboy, so we're only missing the Eradicator. And then we can have the reign of the Superman all over again.
Part 2. This time with Steel.
They'll be making it reign Superman.
No, but the greatest thing ever is that they did bring that back. They brought back the reign of the Superman, but that Superman who was the guy who it all happened to the first time is now watching, and he's just like, this is stupid.
This is awful.
Being outside of this is really terrible.
My only thing is, if they bring back the Eradicator, he needs to be wearing the Bret Hart shades. He needs. They need to work those in somehow.
All right, so moving on to the next one then. And as much as I loved Superman, this I honestly felt was the most incredible Rebirth title of this week. Only like a hair above Superman, but I feel it was the best. Let's see if you guys can guess. What am I talking about?
Batman.
Green Arrow.
Green Arrow.
Yes, Green Arrow. No, it was Batman. That's it.
Green Arrow was great.
They were both good. I'm not gonna lie. They were both pretty good.
Okay.
Batman was strong.
The Batman finally. Okay, everyone knows on this stream that I am like an enormous advocate for the Scott Snyder run. I loved his horror take on Gotham as a character, putting Batman in it, all that kind of stuff.
His boner for architecture.
This is the first story not written by Scott Snyder that issue 1 I was like, I'm in this seat. I am in for this ride. Yeah. This is amazing. You didn't reference a single past thing. You didn't do nothing. Mm-hmm. I feel it's one of the strongest beginnings for Batman we've ever had.
It's a fresh start.
In that issue, they treated it like starting fresh. If you all you need to know is there's a guy in a bat costume with an old man talking to him.
But you also get like it's exactly what Rebirth promised to be. It's why I was like, this should have been Batman Rebirth #1, because it should have been like that palate cleanser that didn't remind you of the original Guard. It pays homage to what came before. It established itself in a larger DC universe, but it is distinctly and unmistakably a Batman book. And it gives you some redesigns that actually look kind of badass. For me, this is the best looking Batmobile they've gotten in a long time.
It's
mostly
solid.
because it's the animated series Batmobile.
I know, right?
On the front. But I'm in. Everything about it, like, you even got the David Finch art, which like is hit or miss sometimes, especially with a lot of like modern comic book readers. But I think it works, and I think it looks like he's trying something a little different. And I was like, oh, I'm on board for this. Good for you.
What I dug about this is that this wasn't about Batman punching a villain. There was no colorful guy in a costume who needed to be stopped. This was Batman dealing with like a disaster and something that he's not really well equipped to do. He has to stop a plane from falling, and they even make a point of saying, like, man, if this was Green Lantern City or Superman City, they'd have it done like that. But because Batman, it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do?
Well, it's literally just, you see, in this issue, you see Batman save Gotham.
Yep.
Awesome.
So what do you think about it, Hector?
I thought it was so surprisingly emotional. I got so wrapped up at the end with the conversation between Bruce and Alfred.
Yeah.
I started getting choked up. I was like, I never knew that I wanted to really hear this. I wanted to hear this maybe Bruce thinking he's not even going to make it and what he would do. And he had this great little checklist, and he made sure of everything. And Alfred was talking to him, and then the last thing he asked him was, do you think that they'd be proud? And he was talking about his parents. Just such a great moment.
Yeah.
I thought that, I was kind of on board with the issue until about that moment, and then I went, I love this.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. And then we get our introduction of some really new, interesting, exciting characters. It was such a great intro to these characters who might not be the biggest deal in the larger scope of the DC world. But what they did is they brought it back down to Gotham, and they were trying to tell us this is a city that doesn't have Superman, like you were saying, no Green Lantern. So in this city, this is going to be a big deal. I thought they did it in such a smart way. And it's even the Finch artwork, which in the beginning was a little like, I'm like, I don't know if I'm on. And then by the end of it, I was like, this is fantastic. So really great job to everybody that did that. Yeah,
it's got to be a hard act to follow the Snyder Capullo double team, but I like that they set it up very much in issue 1 where it's like, no, we're going in our whole other direction. We're on a whole nother planet. This is a fresh start, but we're still bringing back a lot of the stuff you like. What I dug is they worked in the Cult of the Cobra. I'm like, oh, I love those guys.
So, I mean, I think we can all agree.
And snake masks.
Batman #1, great jumping off point for any kind of a new reader. If you really want to get into Batman. Like, if you want to get into Batman and you don't want to go invest into the whole Scott Snyder run, just grab this issue. You're fine.
Buy this issue.
Yeah.
How did you feel, Sal, as the big Dark Knight Returns fan that you are, when he said, "Is this the good death I've been?" I was
like,
for?
It's funny. I've seen them try. I mean, like, over the last couple of years, they've approximated the Dark Knight Returns in every possible media, especially the last Batman movie we saw. But Snyder has also made several homages to the Dark Knight Returns. And when Snyder wasn't doing it, Capullo was throwing it into the art. I felt like it always had an air of forcedness to it. This felt, I mean, like everything about, I don't want to hype it up too much because it's like, it's a cool issue. It's not like the second coming, but it's still pretty badass. And like
the second coming of Jesus,
it's
which
second
is
coming of
Batman.
which is still pretty awesome. But the Is It This a Good Death was like, for me, I didn't feel like it was forced. I felt like it was earned. And I think it works because it's also like, we're not building up to The Dark Knight Returns. We're not trying to like tug at your heart. We're not trying to co-opt The Dark Knight Returns to trick you into liking this book. We're paying homage to it in a really cool way that's like, no, that's an aspect of Batman that Tom King clearly like identifies with and agrees and integrates into the character. That for me worked. I think it was cool.
I read that line and all I could think is like, man, Sal's probably marking out right now big time for this.
No, I was like, this is cool because it didn't beat you over the head with it. It wasn't like, I'm working on a new set of armor and the armor is literally the Dark Knight Returns on. Like, all right.
All right, well, I know Hector and Joel apparently read Green Arrow. I did not get to that one yet, or Green Lanterns. Did anyone also read Green Lanterns, or is that the one no one's
Lanterns is still on my pile.
Yeah,
I read it. I read Lanterns.
Okay, you talk about Lanterns, and then we'll go to Green Arrow with the both of you.
You got it. Lanterns is going off of Green Lantern's Rebirth, which I think came out last week, I think, or maybe the week before.
2 weeks ago, I think.
2 weeks ago. I'm still really interested in these characters. I don't know that much about. God, I'm blanking on his name.
Simon Baz.
Baz.
Yeah.
Right. Baz. Still interested in him. I'm still a little bit on the fence of if it's too much like. If it's trying too hard to take a real ethnicity in this country and a real religion and to pile everything that is happening to that particular group of people
on one guy
into this one character to sort of tell an entire group of people's experience through one character, I still don't know if it's like Sal was saying, if it's earned or if it's just kind of like he's going to become a sort of political mouthpiece, if he's going to be a way for DC to, rightfully so, to try to give you the perspective of a Muslim character that's not what the media usually makes out, which is great. But if it feels inorganic, then it sucks. I'm not quite sure if I'm going which way on that, but I still am interested to see what happens with this character. I love that in this issue there's a moment where he flies into something and he describes really quickly. He goes, just in case the ring fails, I always carry backup, and they have a close up of his hip. And I'm like, that tells me a lot about that character, that this is a military guy, that this is somebody who takes the cop aspect of being a space cop very seriously. And he's not just sort of like the angry, like there's some psychology and stuff going on there. And we get to learn a little bit more about the Latina character.
Jessie.
Yeah.
Jessica, who we've known nothing about so far other than that she was, what's the term for, is it agoraphobic? Agoraphobia. You don't leave the house. And that's fascinating to give that character the ring and tell them you got to go out in all of space now is what your job is to do. So we learn a little bit more about these characters. The plot itself was okay. The art was good. The writing was okay. But I'm still, just like everything in Rebirth, honestly, each issue that goes by, there's an unfolding story that week to week I'm there. I'm interested and invested in these two characters, and I can't wait to see what Hal and the rest of the Green Lantern Corps are up to out in space. Yeah. I want to see Baz and Jessica on the Justice League. Like I'm with them.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah,
I'm there. But we'll see if it's a thing where they go too much on the thing of like we need diversity and they pile everything on. As opposed to just have a character who happens to be a different ethnicity than white, which is normally the thing you should kind of lean towards. But yeah, it was okay. I think that it's a pretty good jumping on point, I guess. I would say. I think Green Lantern's Rebirth was probably better though. So I'd say go pick that up. And then
the interesting about Baz, and you alluded to it, is that character has had such an odd history of starts and stops for him. There was a bit there in the main Green Lantern book where it's like, he's Baz, he's here now, he's the new Green Lantern, we're going to push him super hard. Oh, we got cold feet, let's bring Hal back, actually. and then we'll just shuffle him off to Justice League of America, but he won't show up until that book already gets canceled. Then we'll forget about him. And meanwhile, while this is going on, Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, is doing great at Marvel. And they're like, man, we really missed the boat on Baz. We should bring him back.
Absolutely, yeah.
So okay, then lastly, that brings us to Green Arrow, which apparently only Hector and Joel read. So Joel will take point, and then Hector can come in after that.
Oh man, Green Arrow, man, Benjamin Percy. He was doing good before in the last run, and now he has taken this into a whole new direction. He has Black Canary and Green Arrow teaming up again, basically making them a dynamic duo in their own right. Like they take down a slave trading operation here, which is related to the guys we saw in the Rebirth issue. What's cool about this is that they have Oliver Queen being an opinionated character, a character of strong political and moral beliefs, and then to balance him out with a character like Black Canary and even his sister, who are like, yeah, but here's some stuff you never thought about. Like, this issue is all about money, is the thing where they basically straight up ask Ollie, where it's like, is there a single person you have who's your friend who you don't pay? And he's like, no, you're my friend, aren't you? And she's like, I mean, we banged a couple times, but I mean, don't go nuts now. Just shush and look pretty, Ollie. Just shush and look pretty is basically the thing. And yeah, I thought it was great. They're building up the whole underground men thing. Oliver Queen, as he often does, goes, I think there might be something wrong in Queen Industries. And I'm like, well, this is only the 5th time in the last couple months something evil might have been coming from Queen Industries. You really need to vet your people better, dog.
And
yes,
obviously, what did you think about it, Hector?
It's been maybe forever since I've read Green Arrow, and with Rebirth and this, the fact that we are introduced to Ollie's sister, who I didn't know as a character, I didn't know anything about her.
She's brand new.
What's that again?
She's brand new, Emiko, yeah.
Brand new. My first instinct was they're trying to make this like the show. They're trying to make this like the CW show to try to bring in that fan base. And I was like, I don't know. But then you read the issue and you go, this is fantastic. This is what I wish that CW show was. I wish it was this. I wish that the relationship between Ollie and Black Canary was in the show. I wish that Oliver was that opinionated character, like you said. I wish he had a damn goatee. I wish that all of that stuff was happening in the CW show, and it was just so much fun to read. They do such a good job of separating this character from his other contemporaries like Batman. It's like, well, what makes Green Arrow differently? Well, what makes him different? All of these different examples they give you. I'm intrigued in the story, and the art is so cool and so simplified, and it's almost like animation. It's gorgeous, So I just rewatched like Disney's Tarzan on Netflix a few days ago. And it has that sort of feel of like there's so much movement, but it's very simplified and very beautiful. And I'm a big animation guy, so I dug this issue. I would say to pick this up, to pick up Green Arrow Rebirth, I'm in it. I really, really dig it. Yeah.
Okay, so then go ahead, Joel.
I was going to say, we've kind of seen Green Arrow take over the world right now, and I know Benjamin Percy was talking about this on his own Twitter, being like, wow, I am touched that you guys love this new run so much, especially because I was writing it before, and it didn't seem like you people were reading it, but you're really into this now. Yeah. It's funny, too, Hector, just to blow your mind, you mentioned how at first it made you feel like the TV show. Well, here's the thing. Jeff Lemire did a run, which was a really beloved run. He had kind of breathed new life into the character for a little bit. Then they kicked him off the book. They got guys who wrote the show to write the comic for an arc. People absolutely hated it. They brought Diggle in, they brought Felicity in, and people just know that one crashed and burned. Then they brought Percy in. Now we're where we are now. So it's funny that the show has always kind of hung over the Green Arrow comic because of its popularity. Even his costume looks very reminiscent of what he's wearing in the TV show.
And that's fine. I'll compromise and I'll be like, fine, you want to make the costume look the same? That's fine. But there are so many things that don't work in that show. It's like, don't even try to make it work in a comic book, because you don't have to force it, because a comic book you have unlimited budget, and in a comic book you have fantastic actors. As long as the writing's good, your imagination makes these characters really good actors.
Oh yeah.
So, they don't have to bring in Felicity and Diggle and all this stuff. Like So I'm really happy with it, and I'm trying to turn on a lot of people to it for sure.
Yeah, I am too. Actually, we're doing on my channel. We're going to be discussing. We're doing the read for Green Arrow Rebirth is the first one for Rebirth. Like, because I loved the Rebirth. I got to read that one still, but I love the Rebirth. So before we start closing down the show, then, because we've done all the Rebirth titles, we've done all the Civil War titles, let me ask you guys this: if you had to pick up one comic this week, what would you recommend? Hector, you go first.
What? That's so cool. God.
All right, you
okay.
think about it, so that way you're not in the spot. Joel, you go first.
I mean, like, in terms of sheer quality, I want to say Superman, because they're taking Superman in new and interesting directions. But Green Arrow is my favorite, though, in my heart, and I can't not say him, though, is the thing. So, I'm just going to fanboy out on this one, and I'm just going to say Green Arrow. Plus, it was the last one we talked about, so there you go.
Sal?
I mean, we didn't talk about it, but I really, really enjoyed Justice League 51.
Oh, I haven't read that yet.
And for those of
It's
you guys
real-
going over some comics that we haven't gone over yet, this is if you're first time to the show, it's typically how we do. We pick a few core issues that are important,
Yeah.
and while these events are happening, that's going to be them. Like, we can't get away from that.
Yeah, because the fact is, like, Batman, everyone's gonna buy it. I don't need to help with sales on that one. Superman, kind of same deal, especially because it's number 1. Maybe like number 15, I'll recommend because like I'm sure sales will dip off at that point. Don't buy Dark Knight Returns: The Last Crusade.
Last Crusade.
Probably one of the worst things I've read in the last couple of days.
Really?
I think it's awful.
It's unnecessary. That's
the
for
thing.
certain.
It's the worst thing about a prequel in that it is totally unasked for. It has no real contribution to the zeitgeist, and it doesn't give it anything new. Like Romita drawing Batman, that's kind of cool, but it's a little sloppy and it's not as refined. I'd rather read, if you want to see John Romita Jr. draw Batman, go about 20 years in the past and read that Punisher Batman crossover because that looks freaking great.
It also seems a little silly where it's like, really, you're coming out with Last Crusade now when the scheduling on the main Dark Knight Returns 3 thing has fallen off to the point where we don't even know when the next one's coming out.
Damn book took forever as well. The fact, also the whole rumor that Frank Miller himself has perpetrated that he's not even writing these damn things. So it's like, what am I even doing here? I get that like Frank Miller lost his mind and he's writing some of the
Many
worst
years
things
ago.
I've ever seen. But at the very least, it ignites conversation. This is not a conversation. This is a book where it's like,
This is we needed
All right, well,
to balance
this-
the books.
I love how this went from your top pick to the book you tell
to
everyone
the
not
bottom.
to-
Yeah. I just wanted to throw out there like it's out and it's $7 and save your money.
Okay.
Hey, if I can tell people to stay away from stuff, Apocalypse War, which is still going on for some
really?
reason. Yeah. The movie's been out for how long now? What are you even tying into now?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm recommending Batman #1 since no one else wants to. Hector, what is your recommendation if you're going to pick up one?
I forgot the issue number of the book that came out yesterday, but I think I might go the new Invincible. I think that might be my recommendation. It's my favorite comic book series of all time. I think that it's insane that I'm still so into what's happening in that storyline. Cory Walker, the original artist on the book, is back. This is the second issue back for I think like a 6-issue sort of giving Ryan Ottley a breather as he's working on stuff after that to kind of catch up. And it's fantastic. There are story elements in this. I mean, we all love superheroes. Mm-hmm. And when I give people the pitch for Invincible, I tell them you got to start with issue 1. But if you just want to go and kind of check it out, go get whatever issue is happening right now. I think it's 127, maybe 128.
I just pulled it up, and I do agree with you that Invincible's incredible.
Invincible is the comic book that everybody who loves superheroes and reads them as a young person into going into an adult eventually hits a wall where they complain about all the things wrong with these companies and wrong with superheroes, namely that they are never allowed to change because we recognize that they're mascots for billion-dollar corporations, so they have to stay the same. And everything that we all complain about, Robert Kirkman addresses as sort of his commentary on the comic book industry in general and tries to give us what we want and tries to fix it. He'll do a massive event in one issue called the Invincible War, and it was way back like in issue 80 or something. Just like one thing that has a crossover with Spawn and Savage Dragon, like they're in it, And so he does these things where his characters are allowed to die and then stay dead.
Yeah.
That's happened in the series, and they haven't been back. And characters are allowed to evolve and change perspective and ideology, and we go with them and have a family. And talking about what we were talking about with Superman, he has a daughter now. Invincible has a young daughter named Tara, and he's not even living on Earth anymore, which is crazy. But the art is gorgeous. I think Cory Walker as an artist is better than he's ever been. And there was a letter in the back of this issue that just came out yesterday where a guy just went off and said how bad Cory Walker was as an artist and was like, bring back Ryan Ottley. And they published it to just be like, I'm sorry, we normally, but this, we all felt like, what are you talking about? Everybody likes this guy. Or you can like, what the hell are you talking about? So I think that the art was fantastic. I also want to give an honorable mention to Han Solo #1. I like all of the Star Wars stuff that Marvel's been putting out, and Han Solo is no exception. It was so cleverly written. They're so clever to find where they can in the Star Wars movies plug in a brand new story. Like they're like, okay, well here's we'll do a whole thing that we never knew that this happened, and it all builds to the way that the characters work in the movies, even in between the movies. And the art was fantastic. If you're a Star Wars person, you should go get Han Solo #1. He's the best Star Wars character of all time.
They have been batting 100 on those Star Wars books. They've been getting like AAA talent, both writers and artists. There hasn't been a bad one yet. There hasn't been a
My personal favorite so far is Chewbacca. I thought
Chewbacca's
Chewbacca
pretty
was the
great.
best
It's
one
so-
so far.
I thought that 3PO book was pretty tight. Like just the
3PO was that. Imagine that a one-off 3PO book was great. What's
Yeah,
up with that?
I can't believe they're ending a Darth Vader book. Doesn't
I
that
know.
print money? Like, why would you do that?
Because you can't,
And especially because you've introduced a really-
story-wise, because they've made it very clear that the stories of the comics will not affect the movies, and you
Well, they
can't go any further with Vader right now.
That's true. It's like it was funny because when I remember when they announced it, they were like, "We're doing Star Wars, we're doing Darth Vader, and they're in the same timeline." And I'm like, "Well, isn't Darth Vader just in the Star Wars book? Like, isn't he just a major character? He's the villain of the series." But they made it work anyway, and they introduced that
And
really
now-
cool character that's like Vader's friend or whatever.
Dr.
That's
somewhat
Afra.
friend
Yeah,
as
Dr.
close as a
Afra
friend
is
as you can
awesome.
have.
she's super cool. People were like, "Tiffany should cosplay as her." I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah, she should.
All right, guys.
Also,
Well, just as our usual, don't go anywhere because if this is your first time here, we are going to stick around, do a giveaway. We're going to give away all the books that we talked about today, the ones that we reviewed, not all these bonus ones that everyone just brought up. Because that'll cost me a lot of money to mail. Anyway. But yeah, so if you are just joining us for the first time, we do this every Thursday here. Every Tuesday is our weekly poll show where we talk about pop culture. We also play Dungeons and Dragons every Friday now, and we play video games on Monday, Wednesdays, and pretty much around the shows. As a matter of fact, if you stick around, it's going to be me, Rob from Comics Explained, Tiffany from Comic Pop, and then my wife, Natalie, who does our gaming channel, and then another random guy. We're all going to play Dead by Daylight after this is all over. So you're going to basically laugh at us being idiots. But before we do go, before we close out this official recording and we go to the giveaway, I'm Benny the Comicstorian. I dramatically recap comic books. That is Joel for Cape Joel. He does cooking shows and reviews all your favorite shows and comics. That is Sal from Comic Pop. He does everything basically in one form or another. And Hector, once again, what would you like to plug and talk about?
First of all, thank you guys so much for having me on the show. This was super
Pleasure.
fun. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Hopefully you'll have me back again. I just got back from...
happens to
You,
the
you
best
are
of us.
welcome any week. If you're sitting at home on a Thursday and you're like, hey, I want to talk comics, just hit me up. We'll put you on.
Got it.
We will bump other people just for you.
I so appreciate that, guys. I saw some pretty rad stuff at E3 this morning, so I think you're going to enjoy some of the stuff that's coming down the pipeline. I think that the new Spider-Man game looks awesome. I didn't get a chance to try out the Batman VR, but everybody's flipping out about it. So I know,
The idea
Sal.
of being Batman, how could you not like that?
You can finally jump in the head of Batman. You can
I
finally,
want that
you know,
so bad.
beat up the mentally
Rocksteady's
ill. if
making
you
it.
wanted.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be
I'm
great.
in.
It's going to
I'm
be
in.
great. But you guys everybody watching can catch me and my homies on Superhero News on YouTube, and then try to watch me on Geek and Sundry's Twitch just throughout the week. I'm there all the time. So yeah.
Yeah, you are on Geek and Sundry like almost every show, aren't you? Doing everything.
Yeah. Thursday's my day off. It's perfect. It's great.
I like how he said it like, yeah, every day.
Yeah, it's my day off. It's great.
So, all right, I just linked your channel in there. Thank you guys so much. We're going to close out the recording portion and then move over to the contest. If you're in the chat over here on Twitch or you want to join us next week and be here for when we give away the comic books, make sure you go to twitch.tv/eligible monster. And we are now going to, if you want to be a part of the contest, you need to talk. Say anything you want in the chat. Because the bot will read that you are talking in the chat. That's what we needed to do. So just talk in the chat. You'll be enrolled for the contest. And we're all going to be hanging around like usual, answering questions. I don't know if Hector has time, but he may or may not be. But let me say goodbye, close out the recording, and goodbye recording.